to talk to IG support.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed joined by Kitties, who unfortunately your team is out, but you still got a really nice victory here. Can you talk me through what happened in this last game and how you found the strength to do this and play so phenomenally?
就是这次比赛虽然你们没有晋级，但是你们最后一场比赛打得非常精彩。然后想让你跟我们仔细介绍一下这场比赛的经过和发生。
最后一场是我们拿到卡尼斯塔跟凯兰嘛，然后最重要的体系是我们本来团战阵容需要就是靠我或者兵法去强开团，如果说能开起来团战的话，队友就会有很好的机会切入。那个时候也要看一个机会，就是纳尔的能量嘛，他能量太低，我们不能上。
Okay, so the Kalista and Cannon comp is really important. It basically gives us a tool of engagement, as well as we have Lissandra. Lissandra is really good in forcing a team fight. And the other thing we have to pay attention to is Maganar, whether Zitai has enough fury to become Maganar. So combining those four things, we can make sure that we have a good chance at the team fight.
Yeah, and with all those four things, it's actually a very complicated thing to pull off. There's been a lot of criticism on both individual play and the team play for your team. What for you do you identify as the problem for IG throughout this tournament?
就是对于这次 IG 的失利，我们可以有很多人把针对了我们的队员，也有针对了战术。你觉得 IG 这次失利的原因大概是什么？
没有打出自己想要的东西吧，然后在赛场上、比赛上面判断上面有失误。
Alright, so they didn't find their rhythm to play what they normally play, and they have a lot of problem in decision makings, in the in-game decision makings. So that's basically how they lost the game.
Right, and that's the end of the story here for IG. Finally, that means that IG and LGD out of the Chinese LPL are out. EDG is still left standing. As knowing them very well, what are their chances here at Worlds?
就是这次 LPL 战队只有 EDG 晋级了，你觉得 EDG 在之后的比赛中能取得什么样的成绩？
他们能进决赛吧，感觉。
You think EDG can make to the finals?
All right, well, we'll see if that happens. Thank you so much for talking to us. Kitty is after closing out the tournament with a win. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Shox. Things are only getting more interesting here with that loss for Cloud9. I want to jump into picks and bans. Specifically, Tabe, you mentioned that Kakao might move towards something a little bit more aggressive. We saw the Nidalee come out, and it was very effective in the early game.
Yeah, as Yamato just said, the poking composition is really good. Although Rookie didn't pick poking champion, but Lissandra is always very good because he can flash an R Veigar and force Veigar to buy the Quicksilver Slash. Because even if you have Sonya's, you will be die immediately because of the stunning. And we can see that Kakao's this game is performing magnificently because he is like punishing the other team's jungler a lot, and he also have a really good attention on all the dragons. He got nearly all the dragons.
I'm really happy they brought in the Lissandra. As we talked about yesterday, the kind of weakness of teleport is that you can't really take the cleanse. And with the combination of Kakao dominating the jungle, they are pressuring Incarnation, who is playing Veigar that is weaker in the early game. So I really, really like that approach.
Coming into the tournament, we knew that Cloud9 was really good at innovating. So for a long time, they always bring out new picks. But that also came with the fact that they always stick to the same picks that they brought out no matter what. In the Gauntlet, we saw the affinity for Karma, previously Ashe, Zyra, pretty much every single game. And then in this tournament, no exception. The same compositions every single game. And I don't think that's going to stop. It's a little distressing. Actually, it's very distressing to see it be dismantled that hard in pretty much the top lane, the mid lane, the jungle. People have figured out answers to every single part of it. They really need to try something new.
I was going to say, it's more concerning now that the comp that they had been winning with essentially for the first day has been beaten and not just banned out and forced onto something else. You know, in this game, though, it was kind of interesting because Cloud9 was sticking in it for a period of time. They managed to get themselves into that turret siege situation where they could make picks and take a turret off of it and keep the gold even. However, they were almost too willing to hand over dragons to IG and put themselves into a hole and into a bad position when it came to the late game, having to fight for that fifth.
I feel like IG, like with the advantage they took early game, they had like a good role on the game. They had good control of the Drakes, good control of the Barons as well, besides from that steal that Kakao was forced to make. But I feel like IG I had a good point, but I lost it. It's like...
You were saying that IG played it well around holding control over the dragon.
Yes, yes.
Which my point was that Cloud9 had given up too much leeway to IG in the early game, saying you can have the first 3 dragons, you can have the first 3 or 4, put themselves in a hole and forcing themselves to come back for the 5th. Would have liked to have seen them make some movements earlier.
Okay, I got my point again. The point I had, I got flashbacks from the previous Kalista games, where Kalista, like I remember when Kid was playing Kalista and he had to just E the Baron back in the day, and he had to only ult Kitties in, and he just failed to do these simple things. The addition of time, I felt he managed to do these simple things on Kalista. He was solid, and solid was something that IG needed in these previous games, because Kid was doing a lot of these mistakes that cost them the game, and I felt that time was fundamental to securing these objectives with his Kalista play.
Now, unfortunately for IG, they will not be moving on in the tournament. And for Cloud9, they found themselves in a tiebreaker match to even get out of the group stage. We'll see if in the time that they have during this next game, they can come up with a new strategy that might be effective against either Fnatic or AHQ, who are playing both, and both are playing next. And both of those teams are eyeing a first seed quarterfinal berth. We'll be right back with a closer look at that clash, so stay with us.
Dude, we're about to get LGD'd, man, I'm scared.
What's that mean? They whipped in time.
They whip in a substitute when they're already done so. And then they just turn up.
Gets caught and apprehended backwards. Fade's called back to time. But that's in trouble! Boom! Incarnation!
Incarnation gets up, but Tataya's Meganar. He finds the stun. 2 kills already, and they're not done yet. Kitty's safe as well. First 2 come through. Rookie's dead, but Time and Co. are crushing phases. Bazonia's buys time, and Kitty's again is the man engaging the fight. Sneaky, the last man alive. He's gonna go down.
Invictus Gaming pick up a win against Cloud9.